What is up, everybody? My name is Elptima, and today we've heard that some episodes of PJ Masks are very entertaining to watch, as well as replaying some scenes that some viewers find very interesting. However, while there are some episodes of PJ Masks that we have all enjoyed and that we consider to be the best, there are worse episodes that are either boring or overwhelming, like looking after Gecko, Gecko's super Gecko stunts, the lizard theft, Owlette slips up, glowy moths, who let the moths in, and other episodes that primarily focus on Motsuki, specifically in seasons 3 or 4. But besides the worst episodes, I'm gonna be reviewing the most terrible episode of PJ Masks, and that is none other than the very first worst episode itself, Owlette's Terrible Pterodactyl Trouble. The episode starts off with Connor, Greg, and Amaya entering the museum to check out the new dinosaur exhibit. Connor wanted to play a prank on Amaya by hiding behind a cutout of a Tyrannosaurus Rex and scaring her from behind, which caused Amaya to get scared and then bumped into one of the dinosaur skeleton models, plus a head falling on top of her. Connor laughs, but Amaya didn't think it was funny and is still angry at him. While everyone else laughs, Greg tells the two of them to stop arguing and just look at the models. Before Connor was about to apologize to Amaya for scaring her because she told him to, Greg points out that the pterodactyl was stolen. That is when the three nighttime superheroes come in. At night, taking place at HQ, as the PJ Masks were about to take the cat car, Owlette flies and lands in front of Catboy to tell him to say sorry for scaring her earlier. Catboy then apologizes to Owlette and they head to the cat car.
Is that it? It wasn't a very big sorry.
Seriously? You think a simple apology from someone is not enough for you? Come on, he apologized! After taking the cat car to look for the missing pterodactyl, Catboy asks Owlette to look for Romeo using her owl eyes. But Owlette, once again, tells Catboy to say he's sorry. But Catboy already said that he's sorry, while Gecko saw a flying pterodactyl which was heading towards them, scaring the heroes and almost crashing the cat car.
See? It's horrible being scared by a dinosaur.
The flying pterodactyl comes to a landing only to be controlled by Romeo. Romeo was the one that stole the pterodactyl from the museum and turned it into a robotic pterodactyl. Catboy was gonna fire the furballs at Romeo, but Romeo dodged them. Romeo then turns on the speaker, saying out loud that he's the best, wondering who can steal a dinosaur model and make it fly. Gecko says that they should take it back, but Romeo doubts that they will take it back and says that he will scare the whole city with the pterodactyl and then the ones from the museum until he takes over the world. As Catboy shouts that they will stop him, Romeo then comes down with the pterodactyl, scares them again, and flies away. A few seconds later, when Romeo arrives at the park, he sees an alley cat lying down on a tree branch and wants to scare it, since he thinks that it will be great practice for when he sees the heroes again. Romeo scares the innocent cat and the cat falls, but luckily, the cat was not her as it landed on the flying pterodactyl, blocking Romeo's view and landing on another tree branch. The flying pterodactyl then crash lands on the ground, sending Romeo flying and landing on a bush.
I do not like cats. Cat?
The PJ Masks arrive at the park and hide on a tree. Catboy comes up with a plan to take Romeo by surprise before he fixes the pterodactyl, but Owlette then tells Catboy to apologize for surprising her in the museum. Come on! He already said he was sorry and that it was just a joke. But Owlette doesn't listen and decided to go off and catch Romeo on her own. Are you really gonna let a small, harmless joke affect you? After Romeo fixes the pterodactyl, Catboy and Gecko plan to jump on Romeo before he can take off. But the plan didn't work because Catboy and Owlette collided and Romeo flies away.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
They both ask why they did it, and Owlette blames Catboy for letting Romeo escape, but Catboy said that he only escaped because she flew off still angry with him. Catboy makes another attempt to catch Romeo by leaping from tree branch to tree branch and manages to grab the pterodactyl's tail. But Romeo then tries to shake Catboy loose. Owlette flies to save him, but Catboy then comes up with another plan by jumping from a tree branch to grab Romeo from behind and take the remote from him. But Owlette bumps onto the pterodactyl and the remote begins to fall. Owlette calls Gecko to try to catch the remote before it breaks, and he did. As Gecko controls the remote, which was difficult, he manages to get the hang of it and act like it is a video game. Gecko controls the pterodactyl close to the ground for Catboy to get off, on which he did, and asks Romeo how he would like a dino ride Gecko style. Romeo disagrees and asks Gecko to let him down, and he gets Romeo off of the pterodactyl, resulting in him landing on top of his lab. Gecko then lands the flying pterodactyl to the ground next to him, Catboy, and Owlette. After Catboy high-fives Gecko for completing the mission, Owlette didn't high-five Catboy back, all because Catboy scared her, despite beating Romeo. Catboy said multiple times that he was sorry and that it wasn't that scary, but Owlette unreasonably takes it the wrong way, making Catboy feel bad about himself. Catboy then asks if they can make up, to which Owlette declines and flies away, leaving him alone. Catboy speeds and grabs the remote from Gecko to try and fly the pterodactyl himself, find Owlette, and make up with her. But it was not easy. Catboy drops the remote and it lands in front of Romeo, and Romeo gets full control of the pterodactyl and tries to catch Catboy for himself. And now Catboy is in danger. Gecko yells for Owlette and she flies to the pterodactyl, asking Catboy what he is doing. Catboy explains everything to her about what happened after she flew away from him. Owlette finally admits that it was her fault and that she should have made up with him from the start, much to Romeo's disgust and carelessness. As the two friends were about to take each other's hands, Romeo spins the pterodactyl, sending Owlette flying away and Catboy shouting in fear. Owlette flies to Catboy again, finally apologizing and finally wanting to make up with him. Owlette then flies faster and faster to Catboy and asks to grab onto her, and Catboy kicks the pterodactyl on the tail with his foot. The pterodactyl then crash lands on the ground and flies, heading towards Romeo, scaring him and jumping off the lab, landing in a pile of garbage. Romeo quickly realizes that he dropped the remote and is now in the hands of Gecko, which he controls the pterodactyl to scare Romeo away and lands it next to him, Catboy and Owlette. After taking back the pterodactyl, it is now back at the museum. Amaya gets scared by the Tyrannosaurus Rex cutout again, only this time, it was Cameron who scared her. Connor then said to Cameron that it was mean and saw how upset Amaya was the last time she was scared. Cameron apologizes and Amaya told Connor that he was right. It was just a joke and she accepted Cameron's apology. Suddenly, the pterodactyl began to move on its own, scaring the children and hiding behind the doors. But it turns out, it was Greg controlling the pterodactyl using the remote that was used and created by Romeo before. Greg apologized, saying that he couldn't resist. But when the pterodactyl began to move on its own again, despite Greg not even hitting a single button or anything, the alley cat, which Romeo tried to scare off, shows up and leaps down to the ground purring Greg, confusing everyone but later start laughing, ending the episode. Well, that was the worst episode I've ever seen, but at least it's over. If you guys think Owlette's Terrible Pterodactyl Trouble was the worst episode or not, be sure to tell me in the comments below. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I didn't enjoy this video myself. I've enjoyed absolutely nothing in this. Though I will say, despite Owlette being discourteous and a little dramatic over a harmless joke, the episode was somewhat entertaining. If you really like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you all next time.